Big hand, ladies and gentlemen, for Huma Qureshi. So, breaking the stereotypes, that's quite a title that we've given to Huma, and that's something which is in her nature, right from the time that she came in. And of course, she's proved that with each and every role that she's displayed in cinema. I want to understand from you, what instinct of yours really helped you understand or choose such kind of roles which actually get you out of the mold and probably make that your signature style in cinema and in OTT?
I don't know. First of all, hi. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me in here today. Thank you. It's always a pleasure to come to Dubai. I guess my stubbornness, yes, actually. I think since a young age, I had a problem hearing the word no. And I felt like every single time someone said, oh, you can't do this, or you mustn't do this, or you shouldn't do this, I always question saying, but why not? And I think that is the key factor. That has been the defining factor for me as a person, as an individual, as an artist, saying, why can't I do that? So every single time someone tries to put me in a box, I'm like, but no, wait a minute, why? Give me a reason. And maybe if it's something I can't do that's beyond my current skill set, I'll try and work on it. But I think that's been the driving force behind each and every decision of mine.
Absolutely. But Huma, do tell me, I'm sure it's not very easy when you already are in a world where the ideas are so fixed, the beauty standards are so fixed, everybody expects you to be a certain way, look a certain way. If you are an actress, you have to be a certain way. How did you convince people? Or did they, just look at your talent and they were like blown away?
I mean, I guess so. No, it's been tough. It's not been an easy journey. I think the idea is to be true to yourself. I realized very early on, if I try to fit into someone else's idea of beauty or attractiveness, I would fail miserably. For example, the analogy I like to give is I'm a fish. So if you tell me to climb a tree, I'll be terrible at it. But hey, I can swim, so watch me. Gloriously swim. And I think that's the analogy I like to put. There are things that I can do that perhaps as an artist, only uniquely I can do. So as opposed to being like, oh, I don't look like that one, or I don't talk like that one, or whatever anybody else's idea of perfection, beauty, success may be, I have to be true to what really appeals to me and speaks to me. And I've just tried to always lean into that. The journey has not been linear. I've made my share of mistakes. I have been lost. I have been confused. I have looked at other people and be like, oh my God, look at them. They're getting so many opportunities that I'm not getting. So maybe if I tweak myself and I shrink myself and I become somebody else, perhaps I'll get those opportunities. But, I think I was terribly lost. And I think since the time I've started listening to my own stubborn voice, saying, nahi, mujhe ye aise hi karna hai, it's been... I think it's been all right.
Absolutely. But, we've also seen lack of opportunities, even if there were, interested actors to portray themselves a different fashion, but there never would be such script writing, probably traditionally. So how do you think that has evolved as well with, actors like yours showcasing that even this is possible?
There's always been a gatekeeping of sort. And that gatekeeping does not come from one particular person or agency or producer or whatever. I think it's a very collective kind of a gatekeeping of what kind of story should be told, who deserves to get represented, who deserves, that spotlight. And even today, like my journey as a woman, as an outsider in the business, it's not been easy. There are many rooms till date I don't have access to. There's so many parts I could do, but those guys don't call me. So what do? Do I sit at home and cry and be like, hey, mujhe mauka nahi mil raha hai, so I'm going to lament? No, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to take control of my own narrative and tell the stories I want to tell and choose to work with the filmmakers I want to work with. Like, I'll tell you guys a very interesting story. After the success of Maharani and a film that I did called Tarla, which has got me such immense love, one casting director quite recently called me and said, you're such a beautiful woman. Why are you aging yourself by playing these characters? So many other makers want to work with you, but why don't you try and do younger parts? And I'm just like, why does this burden of playing younger parts always fall on girls? Like, why am I always expected to try and look younger than who I am and try for those teeny bopper parts wearing a little mini skirt, and which, by the way, no problem with that. I have done my fair share of singing, dancing around the trees. But if a great script comes my way, So, matlab, I should say no to it because I'm afraid of portraying someone a few years older than me. And I said, the problem is that either I can do multiple cosmetic surgeries and sit at home and wait for certain filmmakers to call me, or I can go and work with those makers who are making all these interesting scripts and they want to work with me. And that's been a huge shift when you start taking control of your own life choices and narrative.
Absolutely. And how do you see the role of OTT? Of course, people talk about it as to how it's been a game changer, it's been an industry revolution point. But even for actors like yours, do you think OTT has been a game changer of sorts?
100%. I mean, I was one of the first actors from India to do OTT with Netflix's first female-led show called Leila. Maharani's done spectacularly well. It's probably one of the most watched shows. And I think all the wonderful work that I get offered henceforth has been the result of these successes. So absolutely, I think there's... But I still feel like now we're on like 2.0 era of this OTT revolution where I feel like we need to again rethink what kind of stories we're putting out there and what kind of stories do we want to tell and who do we want to sort of, because again the gatekeepers have arrived and then they want to control the narrative. So it's an evolving piece, but definitely things have changed. There's so many actors today who possibly wouldn't have got the platform if not for OTT. I mean, Jaideep Palawat, for example, I think wonderful actor. Today, because of a show like Paatal Lok, we all are familiar with his work and love his work. Prateek Gandhi, Shefali Shah, these are all wonderful actors that perhaps have gotten a new lease of life. Raveena Tandon, I'm just saying it's wonderful to see the kind of opportunities that OTT has thrown up.
So do you think that women actors particularly are getting their due on OTT, something that was really largely missing on Bollywood? Like you also pointed out that you have done your fair share of running around the trees and that was the role that was offered to women for a longest time. So now has OTT really changed the way?
Definitely. I think the success metrics are for everyone to say, and they all say that OTT, is very data-driven. So for sure, a lot of female-led shows and stories and films are doing extremely well. But I'll give you something to chew on, okay? I just said I've done Maharani. It's possibly the most watched show and the most loved show. But do I get paid as much as my male counterparts who are doing an OTT show? Far from it. So
really?
That's still a space one needs to negotiate. And it's very unfortunate but it is a reality.
Even if you were the central character and everything revolved around you and season after season you've done that.
No. I'm saying I do get paid. I'm the number one on the show. But I'm saying if I'm comparing another show.
Sure, absolutely. Vis-a-vis a
male-centric, they would get paid far more. And I keep hearing like so-and-so actors getting paid like 45 crores. And I'm like, but why?
Yeah, but why exactly? I mean, have you brought that out, in the conversations there? What is it that they gave out to you as reasons?
There is no reason given. It's just how things are.
And what will take for it to change?
I think all of us collectively talking about it, and all of us, I think, rejecting substandard content and talking more about relevant stories that need to be told.
Absolutely. Now for Maharani specifically, since you're also talking about it, and all of us have loved you in Rani Bharti's character, tell me what were the takeaways for you personally from Rani Bharti's character? Have you changed the way you are looking at politics now after having done so much of politics in the last 3 seasons?
I stay far, far away from politics. For some strange reason, people think because of Rani Bharti that I have some great insight or understanding of Indian politics. Far from it. I mean, I'm like any other armchair political critic as any other person in India. But no, it's just fascinating. For me, the story of Rani Bharti has always been the underdog story. That if you give power to like the lowest common denominator, somebody who really is born in the problem, perhaps they might have some very interesting regional grassroots level solution to that problem. And I feel like that's what's really connected with people, and the way she speaks, that if she doesn't know something, she'll always ask. She'll not shy away from it. I mean, sometimes I've been in situations where I'm like, should I just pretend like I have all the answers?
Okay, so you've done Rani Bharti. You also done Monica, which is like shades of grey and etc. How do you prepare yourself for such characters, and how do you ensure that you have to really pull in something from far deep, despite having done so much already?
I just like to have fun with my characters. I think the only rule I apply is I'm not going to repeat myself. So if
Yeah.
I've done a Rani Bharti, I'll try not to do a similar character. And I am blessed that I get to collaborate with some amazing directors, producers, writers, who are taking such brave chances. Monica was a fun part. I don't get enough dancing parts, guys. I'm such a good dancer, and I feel like it's very unfortunate it's not been exploited. So can we start a petition?
Yes, absolutely. And we'd
To
love
give
to
more
see you
dancing
dance and
parts.
dance more. We saw you with Monica, oh my darling. Such wonderful dancing there. If we can show some clips there, it'll be interesting for all our viewers to also see. For those, this is a fantastic remake that you've done, and a brilliant one at that. But what kind of a dancing role would you want? Like, would you want like a protagonist from a dancer field? What kind of a role are you looking forward there?
Anything.
Yeah?
Anything. Yeah, I'd love to. I mean, I enjoyed doing, the Kavali in Gangubai. I enjoyed doing Monica, whether it's Jolly. I mean, I've got very few opportunities, to be honest, to really
Yeah.
dance, but I really do enjoy it. I think it's such a... I mean, when we're shooting, scenes and all are great, but the day we're doing action or we're shooting a song, it's the most fun. There's so much like energy on set.
Absolutely. What is the role or, maybe some kind of a filmmaker work that you really have liked and you really thought that, okay, maybe I would have done this better?
Not better, differently.
Okay.
I think that's the key thing. Like, for example, Monica, oh my darling, like
Yeah.
we just spoke about, perhaps any other actress would have done a very, very good job. But I think, and I told Vasan, the director as well, I said, you could have cast anybody for it. I mean, what is the role on paper? This office secretary that everyone has the hots for, and she's sort of playing everyone. I'm sure a lot of people would perhaps have done justice to it. But I think the way I played it, I think only I could have played it. And that's the only way I can put it. I think you, as an artist, you put your own mark on each and every character that you do. It's like Shakespeare, right? If
Yeah.
you're playing Lady Macbeth,
Yeah.
Shakespeare's written it, but the way you would interpret it is so original and so unique.
Absolutely. Is there any filmmaker that you really still want to work with and haven't been able to yet
Mr.
work
Christopher Nolan.
with? Oh.
I mean, since you asked.
Yeah, okay, why not? Why not? Absolutely. So Hollywood, what are the things exciting that are happening there? You already stepped your foot there. So what are we going to be really seeing you there? We have seen how Priyanka Chopra is probably, completely transferred there. Are you going to go that way at all?
I doubt. I think my roots are very firmly in India. But no, for sure, I would like to always do a couple of projects. Also, right now, the market is so dynamic and so interesting. I think India really is, the focus is sort of there in terms of our stories, our creators. For me, what is exciting is what kind of stories do I want to be a part of? And I don't have the answer to that. Do I want to be part of very hyper-local, India-specific stories that we can tell to a much larger audience, or do we want to bring some of those elements and try and work with, our technicians and our directors, and then try and see how that intersects? I would love to do. I mean, in fact, in my production company, we're also working on a sci-fi, a very hyper-local India sci-fi story, which I think is something that's not been done before.
That's wonderful. I was actually going to be coming to it that you've donned another hat beyond being an actor. Now you're a producer. So what kind of films are you producing? You did talk about sci-fi. What is the idea? How are you really going to be really looking forward to the kind of stories that probably have not come to you, but you now want to recreate?
Well, I think, the genesis of the idea of to turn producers for both Saqib, my brother and I, was just sometimes as actors, there's so many great ideas come to you, but you feel like, oh my God, I'm not getting the right people to bring it to light. And very often, you're always at the receiving end of waiting for other people to put those stories together, and we but it's very scary to be first generation producers. Very, very scary because you're learning everything on the job. But I feel like we're not the first ones to do it, and we probably won't be the last ones. But for two kids who came from Delhi with not knowing a single person in Bombay to have reached thus far has been nothing short of magical. So as long as I think our intent is to just tell stories that resonate with us, that we want to tell other people and share with other people. I think, that's really been the ethos of our company.
Absolutely. In fact, you talked about your brother again, another fantastic talent that we have in the industry. And, we saw how he played the role in 83. And that really, evolved him as an actor as well, playing right with Ranveer Singh. I want to understand from you, how was it when both of you had this aspiration when you were not as part of the Bollywood, that yes, both of you would want to do this? I think it's a very, very rare combination, completely out of the industry, and yet both brother and sister really wanting to be as part of Bollywood and to make their mark as well. So it's a very rare success story.
Well, I always tell him, "Tu copy karta hai meri." Chota bhai hai na, so I think he always wants to follow in my footsteps. But no, I think I moved to Mumbai first, and I always was into theatre and performing arts. And when he was in college, I think because of how he looked and his body, started modeling very early on, and he started his journey there. And it's quite strange. He got launched by YRF in a Y film called Mujhse Friendship Karoge, and a few months later, I did Gangs of Wasseypur. So I think, I don't know, of course, despite all the claims of the industry being so closed, it still opened its arms to both of us and still gave us a lot of opportunities.
Yes, absolutely. Now, I want to also ask you another aspect of yours, and that's that you've turned an author as well. So, tell me more about it. How is it going? Are you going to be writing more books for us to really read? Has it only come out as a deep-rooted story that you wanted to say, or do you want to explore that realm a little bit more?
I would love to write more.
Yeah?
At the moment, there is no bandwidth that is there for me to write because Zeba, my book, was actually my COVID baby. All my friends were getting married during COVID. I chose to write a book, and I think it was a much wiser decision in hindsight. At least that's what my friends say. No, but it's been really well received. In fact, I was here in Abu Dhabi. They invited me for the Literature Festival. I'm traveling a lot with the book. It's, I think, giving me a lot of love. And to be honest, I think more than any of my acting achievements or whatever money I may have made, I think it brings a lot of joy to my mother. I think she always wanted to see me write, and I think she's very, very proud of it, and she very proudly flaunts it to all her friends. I do want to convert that into a book. I do want to convert that into a film, but we'll find out. Let's see what happens.
Okay.
You have another question for me?
No. There's some questions that are coming in from audiences. I'll take that later. First, I have to finish my questions also.
I got distracted. I was like, "Okay, surprise test."
No surprise test. I want to understand from you now. A lot of celebrities these days, especially women, what we've understood after COVID, again, a change after COVID that we've seen is that many of them are exploring, ways beyond industry as well, wanting to invest in several of businesses, wanting to explore, set up businesses, maybe as a restaurateur, maybe launching their own beauty brands, clothing lines, much more. Why do you think suddenly that has actually happened as a trend that's taking shape? Are you also going to be really looking at that aspect? What's changed?
I don't know why I don't think it's a trend.
Okay.
I think it's always happened. We've had immense crazy stories of female entrepreneurs in this country, but I feel the focus has never been on that. It's also about how you tell that story. For me, it's always been a natural progression to what I do. My family comes from
of course,
the restaurant business, so I think that was something, hospitality is something I've always been extremely excited about.
Yeah.
And now I think in a few years, my dad's restaurant, Salim's, is going to complete 50 years.
Wow.
And we keep discussing in the family that, to have a legacy restaurant which has been serving kebabs and biryani to the people of India for so many years, there's so many stories that I want to tell through the journey of that, right? And to sort of really document that. So that is something is a secret project my brother and I have been working on. But yes, that is something we want to take forward. I have invested as an early investor in some businesses. I think that's something I'm also learning as I go along, whether it's been a brand called Moderate, or it's been a dating app, or I'm actually working on a sari brand, which I think is something I've been very excited about, yes. And I think by end of the year, we're planning to launch.
That's wonderful. In India or globally?
Depends. Do you think I should bring it here?
I'm sure most people will be interested, but yes, we're looking forward to that sari brand.
But the sari, I mean, is such a beautiful garment,
Yes,
right? And I
yes.
feel like it's such a global garment almost. And I really think a woman looks most beautiful in a sari.
Absolutely, there are no doubts about it, and it can fit anybody again. So, and make it look as beautiful as it can. So, of course, with your whole purpose and drive that you've been doing with Double XL and similar such movies, and the thought process that you've been shared. So interesting to see, how your businesses will pan out for sure. I will catch you on Business Today and talk about all those brands as well. Also, wanted to touch upon, when it comes to selecting the kind of startups that you're investing in, what is that one thought goes behind? Who guides you there, and how do you choose?
A bunch of people. I do like to talk to different people and take
Yeah.
advice. I feel like it's something that, of course, you do your own study and reading, but I also like to speak to a couple of my friends who have been doing it. But ultimately, I think is just, I guess, what really appeals to you. Like, I mean, for example, there are a lot of tech things that I'd like to invest in, but I don't necessarily have the understanding for it
Okay.
yet. But I always talk to people, who are in tech, and I'm like, tell me about it. Do you think it's really a need in the market?
Yeah.
So for me, each conversation is something that I'm learning from constantly. And it's not like, you've arrived at something, but it's a journey, right?
Absolutely. I do have some rapid fire questions for you. Which,
Is there a
we
hamper?
can't no hamper. But like you said that, you're completing 50 years of Salim's. India Today is going to be completing 50 years as well. So we could be celebrating that together.
I think I should throw you guys a party at Salim's.
So our founder chairman is right here, and we should be doing
Kebabs on the
something
house,
together. For sure,
Kebabs on the house.
house. Okay. So are you ready for the rapid fire round? Okay. One stereotype that you would love to break on or off screen about yourself.
That I'm very serious. I'm actually quite a goofy person. But I know I sometimes come across as very serious.
Okay. Your personal mantra for reinvention.
Just bravery or stupidity, sometimes interchangeable, depending on success.
If Uma Qureshi was not an actor, what would she be?
A struggling actor.
You would all be an actor for sure. One character of yours you would love to revisit and replay.
I think Mohsina. I know. I get a lot of love for Mohsina and Gangs of Wasseypur still, but when I
Yeah.
look back, I'm just like, I was so naive and I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I know it's such a loved character and such a loved film, but at that time, it's your first film, so you really have no idea.
Say your most favorite dialogue from that one. Everybody knows that one.
Permission to lena chahiye na.
How sweet. Amazing. Okay. One role that you're dying to play but haven't been offered yet.
A historical queen of some sort.
Okay, but you've been named Maharani already, so we'll have to think something else. Who's
Call
one?
it Nokrani maybe. Servant of the people.
Who's one female character from Indian cinema that you wish that you had played? Any already done, a female cinema actor that you've already played, role you've seen, but you really want to play that one? Somebody else's.
I don't know, not a role, but I would love to do a biopic on Meena Kumari ji. And I
Wow.
think I'd do a decent job. I
You
mean,
would
of
do
course, you
lovely.
can't touch her at all, but it's something I would love to do.
You would do a fantastic. I'm sure anybody who's investing in films over here should throw that to all the producers or maybe collaborate with you yourself. Okay, the co-star
Just
who
get the check. Don't worry, I'll handle the rest.
the co-star who makes you laugh the most on the set.
I think they all have a different sense of humor. I think Akshay sir is really funny. I
Yeah.
think he has and not just me. I think it's a real breeze working with him. He's always the goofy one on set.
Okay, a film that you wish you had been a part of.
So many films, yeah. I don't know. There's no one particular film, but lots of films I think I wanted to be a part of.
Pick one, no?
And the others will feel bad.
It's okay.
Titanic.
Oh, okay.
But you have to keep
you
the same-
clearly are hinting out to the Hollywood right now that Uma Qureshi is right there. Please offer her roles there. Okay. Your all-time favorite performance of your own.
None.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe we should ask them. It's very vain to be like, oh, I think this was my best performance. Darla, Monica.
Okay, there you have it. A character that you found hardest to let go of.
Not hardest to let go of, but like so recent. I mean, we're now in the middle of filming for season 4 of Maharani. And I really feel like every single time I go on set and I wear that makeup and the moment from my van to I walk on set, like something in my walk changes. And I feel like I've really imbibed that character. So it's just about just being on set and I'm back to being Rani Bharti and it's not me. Like, in fact, a co-star of mine was telling me that, your body changes and you hunch differently and you walk differently. And I was like, okay, I have no idea.
Fantastic. One misconception that people have about you that you would want to clear.
One misconception? What is my misconception? No, yeah, I'm very straight up. I think what you see is what you get, and I'm quite Mufat actually. So, I mean, I end up saying what I really feel. That gets me into a little bit of trouble.
Okay, one word that defines Huma Qureshi today.
Today, I think I'm in a state of exploration.
Okay, wonderful. Well, you did wonderfully well. Huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Time is up, but we will not let you go before fulfilling your own wish of dancing. And we are going to be playing Monica, oh my darling. And we do request you to please do one
Only
step.
If you dance with me.
I will learn from you. I really do not know how to dance that hook step or something. I'll try to learn from you on stage. Could you please walk up to the stage to present a token of appreciation to our lovely Huma Qureshi? Huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. She's been such a sport and fantastic conversation as always.